Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John Shea here from the No Shame Income Vlog, and today I actually have an interesting topic. This is a little bit off topic from my traditional entrepreneurship videos, but I thought this would be a really good one to share because it's something I've been learning a lot about, and I've spent a lot of my time trying to learn a little bit more about what causes back pain, right? This is a huge topic. There's literally millions of people around the world that suffer from back pain, and I kind of went on this journey over the last few years of how I could, figure out how to conquer my own back pain issues. So today, I'm going to be sharing 10 different ways that I've gone about, whether or not it's using different devices, programs, reading books, all these different things that I've done to sort of defeat back pain. And what I want to do in today's video is walk you through all those 10 different things, and what I'm going to do is show them off first in this video, and then I'm actually going to bring you over to my desktop and I will show you the product page for each of these products, and you can learn a little bit about the pricing and maybe see a glimpse in terms of like reviews these products have. So before we dive into the main part of the video, I do want to let everyone know, if you are new here, or hey, if you're coming back from my past videos, be sure to throw me a thumbs up on the video. And if you actually go back and leave me a comment, if you have questions on any of these things I'm going to be showing you, I will actually come back and reply to your comments that you leave on the video. And again, be sure to hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, all these things that I want people to come back, enjoy this channel, and really just learn a lot from all the topics I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So without further ado, let's dive into number one. This is basically what's considered a lacrosse ball. Now, you could also go and pick up a tennis ball, but this is something I ordered off Amazon. It's basically comes in a pack of two. You get a red one and a blue one, so I'm showing you guys the blue one. And what this does is it basically is a little tiny ball. It's very, very firm, probably a little bit firmer than like a tennis ball. And what you do is you can place this on your back, and you basically can go up against the wall and use the pressure of your own back on the trigger points all throughout your back region. Or you could potentially even do it in the front, in your pectoral region. You could go and use this to work out trigger points that are all throughout your whole back, or anywhere in your body for that matter. So I would say this is probably one of my favorite devices, and the reason I say that is it works much, much better than having someone like actually working you on a massage table. This is using your own body weight and putting the pressure. You know exactly how much pressure you can put into using this into your own body, and it allows you to really pinpoint specific areas that you can focus on and just work them out over time. So this is actually a new device for me. Believe it or not, it's one of the most simple things, but it isn't actually the first thing that I tried. So I wanted to recommend this first because I think for a lot of people, this is going to help you significantly versus maybe some other things I might show you here today. So let's talk about number two. I'm going to be grabbing these things here. I have a bunch of different devices and things all over my desk, so don't mind me. Number two is something called the SShape device, and I have this thing here just chilling on my desk, but this is something you can get on Amazon. Basically, there's a lot of these different ones that you could find. They range in price. Some of them range in styles. This is probably one of the more complex looking ones, but what this is going to allow you to do is basically you have the ability where you can pretty much just nail, like if you see here, I can just get right in under my shoulder blade and get to trouble areas that I'm not going to be able to do myself. Normally I'd have to have someone like a massage therapist come in, or my wife, or someone else come in here and actually try to work these out, when this device is basically going to allow me to really hit these and put the pressure in. The thing I really like about this device is this end is more rounded, whereas the other side has a really pointy kind of edge. So if you really have some trouble points, you can work this right into your back. And you've also got a few other attachments, like, if you want to use this, you could, kind of do like somewhere in the front here in your shoulders. There's also another rounded edge on this side. And then you have some other pieces here in the middle, which you could use basically in your neck region. So this works really, really well for hitting a lot of pain point areas, and it's a simple little device. You could keep it in an office or wherever. So let's move on to number three. Third device is basically a back stretcher. So this is a device that you actually lay on the floor, and it has 3 adjustment levels. So what you can do with this is there's basically this notch here, and you're able to if you can kind of see this, there's different notches. There's one here and one here. So depending on how much you want the stretch to, stretch you out, you can actually move this. It's basically made entirely of plastic. You can move this down into a further notch, and it's going to cause this to come up, and it's going to give you a much better stretch. Now, I found personally with this device, This helped a little bit. It kind of gave me an interesting feel over some of the other devices and things that I was using, but ultimately it didn't really help me a ton with back pain. So I would say this would probably be one of my least favorite in terms of trying to help with back pain issues. But if you're maybe looking to try to, like, you know, crack your back or get something in that maybe, you know, you wouldn't otherwise get without going to like a chiropractor, I would say this might not be a bad device to have. It does feel a lot different than anything else that I've like lied on before, and it does definitely make you feel like you're stretching out your back. But I wouldn't say this is gonna be like a #1 problem solver when it comes to back pain. Now let's look at number 4. This is one of my favorite devices, and this is actually something that I've been using. In addition to back pain, I use this to help fall asleep. This is basically what's called an acupressure mat. And it's basically got all these spikes all throughout the mat. And you may think, well, like, I'm gonna go lie on spikes, right? The first time you lay on this thing, it actually does hurt a little bit and you have to get used to it. But what this really does is it almost like shoots like a mild, very, very mild amount of pain all throughout your entire back. And not only does it relax you, but it actually hits muscles that could be really tensed up or having problems. And the best part about this device is that personally I use it because it relaxes me so much that if I use this and I just kind of shut my mind out, like I'm not looking at my phone or anything like that, and I'm trying to fall asleep at night, you'll just literally get so relaxed that you'll just pass out right after using it. So both me and my wife use this all the time to help us fall asleep. And I think it's also helped me significantly. I had an issue where in the winter time I was shoveling a lot and I ended up just like really straining my wrist. And it hurt so much, it was almost like a pulsing pain that it was bothering me so bad I didn't know what to do about it. And I said, man, why don't I try laying on the mat? And what I did is I just put my hand actually under my back and I laid my back onto my wrist right on the mat. And after doing that for like 5 to 10 minutes, the pain literally completely went away. So this thing is absolutely amazing. I love it for falling asleep, and it's helped substantially when it comes to having back pain and just being able to try to fall asleep. So the 5th device I want to talk about is something called a TENS unit. And I have this in a little box here. So I'm going to open this up and kind of give some idea here. But basically what this does is you have this little device. It's powered by batteries. And here's the device here. It's just this little tiny thing. And this has different measurements here. If you can see, basically you can turn up how effective this is going to be in terms of like strength. And the way this works is you have these little pads. So I'll just show an example of what this looks like. You've got these little pads that you put on your back or your problem areas, maybe where you've got a lot of tension. And you turn up the dials on this, and basically it's gonna send like almost like a shock into the back and really work. It's basically working the actual muscles and the areas where you're experiencing the tension. And it can allow you to get a lot of pain relief. This is a very popular product. If you go on Amazon, you'll see there's quite a few of these. This is a very basic one, but this one actually has helped me substantially. So the only downside with this, it can be a little bit tough to try to like put this thing on yourself. Sometimes the pads don't stay on, so usually it's something where I have to like say, you know, ask my wife, hey, can you like put this on my back as we're about to fall asleep? But overall, this one's not too expensive, and if used properly, it can actually help quite a lot. So this is another device I would definitely consider getting if you have some real problem areas you want to focus on. So let's talk about device number 6. And I actually have this one here just chilling in the back. This is called the Spineworks. So this thing I thought was really interesting. It basically is supposed to be another back device similar to the back stretcher. You lay in this, so this is where your back will actually fall down into. You can see this is the widest part of the device. And your spine actually rests through the center of it, and it allows you to basically work out a lot of tension in between your entire spine. So the first time I used this, I definitely did feel relief. I had read some stuff on reviews where people were like, oh, I cracked my back immensely, and I definitely didn't get any experience like that. But I did find that laying on this did help relieve some tension. I would say it wasn't really a solution per se, but it was something that I think definitely helped. I liked it more than the actual back stretching tool that I showed you guys earlier, the black plastic one. The only problem with this was my skin is very sensitive, and I actually ended up getting like these huge marks going all the way down my back from laying on this for probably too long and potentially just doing too much pressure and overdoing it. So I would maybe suggest if you do decide to use this one, just be very careful if you are someone that has sensitive skin and maybe you bruise easily. And this is the 8th device I want to show you guys. This is basically something called the Xylion. This is actually a massager pad that you can put down on top of any chair. So you could put this on like a couch. You can see here I've got this in an office chair, which right now there's a lumbar pillow, so it can't be used unless I remove these pillows here. But the idea would be that you could put this on pretty much any chair. It's a very flat base, and it comes with a remote. You have to plug this into a wall outlet, and this has several controls. So basically you power this on, it has a heat function, and it also has the ability here where you can turn on a shiatsu massage or a rolling massage. You can do full, upper, lower, and you can also do specific spots. You can move the massagers up and down, which will basically be these two here. There's a whole series of these massager pieces in the back part. And if, let's say you move it up to like your upper back, you could stop it there and then do a spot massage. This device has worked great. I absolutely love it because it's very convenient. I have like a place I just hang it in a closet. And the only downside has been that ultimately the motor on me actually blew out not once, but twice. I will say though that the company was very, very good about getting it replaced, and all I had to do was email them. They got back to me right away and they shipped me a new one, and then I shipped them back the old one, and I was able to get my replacement. And this one so far seems to be holding up really well. The first one just stopped entirely, and then the other one had actually, it would turn on, but then as soon as it started to like get going, it would just shut itself down within like less than 2 minutes. So it was basically unusable. So out of the first two, didn't have a great experience, but now I've got this third one. Seems to be working great, haven't had any issues, and I absolutely love the thing. So let's jump over to my computer. I'll show you guys the last two, and then I'm actually going to show you the product pages for all of these, and we can talk a little bit more about them. But actually, before we do that, I forgot to show you guys one last thing. This is really included in one of these, is I had bought this gaming chair, right? You can see this gaming chair here behind the Xyleon. This is by DX Racer, which is a very well-known manufacturer. They, push this whole gaming chair thing. Is very popular for the last several years. And believe it or not, I paid over $300 for this chair. And the first week I sat in it, I thought it was like the most uncomfortable thing ever. I was just in so much discomfort. Unfortunately, I wasn't using this lumbar pillow, which honestly, if I move the Xyleon, you can see there's like a lumbar pillow here to support your lower back. And I wasn't really using that, so that was one big problem. But even when I did start using that, I found it was like kind of fussy, like I'd always be messing with it, and it didn't really feel like a very comfortable chair. I wasn't very comfortable in it, and I said, you know what, I need something better to support my back. So I went out and I bought this. This is called the Ergo Chair 2, and it's by a company called Autonomous. So the biggest difference in this chair is that this naturally already has a basically a curve right here where your lower back is, and it additionally has the lumbar support built right into the chair. So it's not like I have to add it on or fiddle with it. Basically you just adjust it where you need it to be, and this thing is going to completely support your lower back. Overall, very comfortable chair, and I would say has been a much better investment. Spending the $300 on this chair was a much better investment than having this cool like gaming chair that has all these red and black cool colors going on. This also has a much nicer headrest here. You can see this very nice support. Everything is easily adjustable, and I may end up actually doing another video at some point in the future where I compare these two and my experiences with them. But for now, let's jump over to my computer. We'll jump on my desktop, and I'll walk you guys through some of these products and the price points of all of them. Alright guys, so we're over on my desktop, and I wanted to show you guys the final two things that I actually had been looking at when it comes to helping with back pain. So number 8 is actually a book by someone that basically wrote all about trigger points. This is pretty much a book that I found to be very, very helpful in explaining what causes some of the back pain issues that maybe I was having personally. And ultimately what this really comes down to is learning a lot about trigger points and finding these trigger points that can really cause a lot of issues. So if you head over to this website, painscience.com, they actually have a book here that really covers this in depth. The one that I picked up is Trigger Points in Myofascial Pain Syndrome. And this really just goes very, very deep dive into everything you could possibly know. If you come onto the site here, you can kind of go through and learn about all the different things like save yourself from low back pain. They have different guides, when to worry about it, x-rays, all the different things that maybe you'd want to be looking at. And in addition, if you have pains with other problems, these are things that you can be looking at as well. So I highly recommend this book. It was really beneficial for me to understand some of the underlying issues as to where back pain can kind of come into play. And the next book that I highly recommend, and this is kind of the number 10, I'm sorry I screwed my numbers up there. The last one was number 9. This one is number 10. This one is going to be a book called Foundation, and this came out a little while ago. It's basically called Foundation, Redefine Your Core, Conquer Back Pain, and Move with Confidence. So this is a book by Eric Goodman and Peter Park, and it was actually got some foreword from Lance Armstrong. And this book is basically all about utilizing certain types of movements and moves that you can do in exercise to strengthen muscles that will build up your core. Now, this is something that has made more sense to me than kind of tackling these little symptoms, right, with devices or different things, right? Now, I wanted to show you the reason I bring this up last is because I think this one made more sense than everything else, right? If you think about it, trigger points are ultimately kind of a symptom of another problem. It's a symptom because maybe I have bad posture from sitting in this other chair, right? Or just being someone that may be watching TV regularly more than just getting out and doing exercise, things like that, right? So this is something that is going to allow you to basically follow an exercise regimen that will allow you to build up your core and have stronger core strength, which will ultimately lead to alleviating your back pain. So I bought this book actually very recently. I read through the whole thing and I was like, wow, this made more sense to me than a lot of the other things that I was doing. You know, like if I were to lay on the acupressure mat, I would feel better for a little while, but then after 3 days, the problems would come back. Or if I laid on the Spineworks, I would feel relief and then the problems would come back. So what it came down to for me was that, what could I do that is going to basically strengthen my body or change my body and not just kind of alleviate the problem for a little while, but ultimately give me something that's going to conquer this problem moving forward in the long term. So I actually went ahead and I signed up through this website here. They have a website, foundationtraining.com, and they have something called Foundation Training Streaming. Now, what this allows you to do is actually sign up, and you can get an app on the Apple or Google Play Store. And this is basically a full-on training program that you follow for 8 weeks. They have many, many training programs, but their core program is an 8-week training where you're doing a lot of moves, almost similar to yoga, but a lot of the moves are more specific to building your core muscles and doing different things that are going to help you build up strength and ultimately conquer back pain. So right now, this is probably the #1 thing that I could say you could be doing, in addition to maybe using some of these devices that I'm going to show you guys here. We already talked about them, but I wanted to give you guys something that I think if you're struggling really in the long term, this is going to allow you to conquer these things for more long term, right? It's going to correct your posture. It's going to allow you to start solving the real deep underlying issue, as opposed to just using some device or going to a chiropractor or a physical therapist and then not really having a long lasting effect. So let's kind of conclude this with going through each of the devices and their price points that I showed you guys here at the beginning of the video. So #1 again was the massage lacrosse balls. These run for about $10 on Amazon. You can get them in different colors. Pretty straightforward. I definitely think this is a good investment for $10. You also have the SShape Tools. So if you do want to work those trigger points, this is pretty good. This is the one that I got. It's called the Back Buddy and has really positive reviews. They kind of show you the different use cases of how you could utilize this. There's photos. They're like doing it in your neck, all kinds of different things that you could do for like back pain and different problems. And again, I'm not saying don't go with these things, but again, they're not really going to get down to the root cause. So again, this one, $30, not bad. We also have the back stretcher. This one, I probably would say I don't really recommend. I just didn't particularly find it to be like super helpful, even though they do advertise, it's supposed to help with like pain points. Depending on your circumstance, this could help you, but overall, I didn't find it to be anything that was like magically doing anything different than the other stuff I was using. The next is the Spoonk, and there's many, many other devices like this, but basically if you search for an acupressure mat, you're going to find them ranging in different price points, different colors. Some of them even have like, this one's got like a head pillow that you can use. I don't even think they had that when I bought it. It's even got like a carrying case if you want to bring it to the beach and go lay on this thing, lay on a bunch of spikes while you're at the beach or something. You could do that. So this is $50 for the Spoonk. This is the one that I have. I've been very happy with the quality. We ordered it a long time ago. I think we've had it now almost 3 years, and it still works great. The next thing is the back massager. Now this is really, if you love the idea of being able to just go and get a massage anytime without paying for a massage therapist, I think this is a great tool. It's not overly expensive. It doesn't take up a lot of space. You can literally put it on any chair, and it's not one of those little like dinky ones. Like they have one that's almost just like the radius of the top area that you could like put it in the area that you want. But I was like, you know what? I'd rather have a chair where I could just go and use this at any time. And I'd say this thing works great. You can see the woman just sitting in the couch, basically using it anywhere she wants. So that was the reason I went with this one. While it is a little bit expensive, it's not going to be as much as going and buying like one of those crazy $500 or $600 massage chairs. The Spineworks back realignment device, again, this one's about 35 bucks, very unique and kind of hit or miss with some of the reviews, but overall I did find it to be a little bit helpful, but ultimately not curing me of all back pain. And again, the TENS unit, you can see this is actually the newer edition of the one I showed you guys. I had the 3000 unit. This is the 7000 second edition. So about 27 bucks. I'd say this one's going to be really good if you have some real specific issues. This one actually has an LED, whereas mine is like little dials. So this one's, they kind of talk about how you could do multiple therapies. Basically, it's a drug-free, way to do pain relief. And depending on what you're suffering with, this is something where you could really hit specific spots and really, help yourself with the pain. The last one was the Ergonomic Chair, and this is something I definitely recommend. If you're sitting in this like old $50 chair that you bought from Staples like 5 years ago, then you're definitely not doing your back or your posture any favors. And if just looking at these photos, you can see how much this is going to help you with your posture. I basically have mine where it's almost just non-stop giving me back support, right? I'm not like doing this lean forward thing and I don't have any support on my back. I always have that support I need. So anyway, hope that covers all of this for you guys. If you have any comments or any questions, I thought I'd share this video because it's definitely something that as an entrepreneur, I've been at home all the time, just spending time in the chair, in the office, whether or not that's writing content, creating video courses, doing all the different things that I'm doing, being in the office. I found that back pain was one of the things that I just happen to struggle with. So I wanted to share with you guys some of my experiences and the things that I've been doing to kind of conquer this. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing that you could probably do is invest $15 a month in foundation training and start following this program to actually build up your core. And ultimately, that's going to alleviate a lot of these things where you could just end up using some of these devices to kind of aid with the problems when you see fit or kind of one-off here and there. So anyway, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and again, if you guys leave me any comments, any questions, I will come back and answer those. And I'm also going to leave a link if you guys are interested in learning, how do I afford all of this stuff, right? Like this stuff isn't cheap. If you go out and like this was a $300 chair, this massager was 150 bucks, and then you add up all the other things that I've tried, I've literally spent hundreds of dollars on just these things for one little thing in my life, right? And I know a lot of you guys, if you're watching this, have probably experienced this. So I highly recommend, check out the link below in the description. I actually have a program that I put together on how I've been going out there and basically achieving financial freedom for myself. And that's what's allowed me to buy a lot of these devices, these things, and not need to really worry about, hey, can I go buy a $300 office chair? The answer was no, right? I had something that allowed me to go out there and do that. So be sure to check the link below for my #1 recommendation. And if you have any questions, again, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.